For January the 3rd, 2020, we talk about Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, The Hex, and we do a free play multiplayer. Welcome to Level 310. My name is Cole Ross.
I'm Dennis Furia.
I'm David Maismith.
And I'm Ben Merkel.
And you are listening to The Level. It's a podcast for people who love video games. Level number 310, Standing Between Worlds. We are recording this as the last episode that we are recording during 2019, but it'll be released as the first episode of 2020.
Yeah, so this is after, God jumps out and is like, hey, sorry, 2019 was just a big prank joke.
Yeah, no, we're doing it over again. Now. Timequake. Yeah. So,
I'll let you know if I approve of that once 2020 is done.
Oh, it's only ever going to get worse. So, but yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in, and thank you, you guys for being here. I don't know. I want to begin first by saying a huge thank you to everybody who watched and gave during Duckstream. That was Blast. No, it was recently as of the time of recording this. Sorry, time is all messed up. But we raised.
You can't be bothered to figure out time.
We raised.
It will have been 2 weeks ago when it comes out.
Yes, cool. Thank you.
It's going to have been knowing 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Yeah. Future plutonic. No, so. But we raised a whole load of money, and I want to extend an extra special thanks to Dennis for hopping on in the morning to relieve me so I could go and get some sleep, and a huge thanks to Ben, who God bless him, stayed on the line with me all night.
On West Coast time. I didn't sacrifice that much.
No, but it was really nice. We did something different this time. We had a Discord channel open, and Ben hung out with me for the first roughly half-ish of my stream, and Jala hung out with me for a lot of that, and then for most of the second half of the stream. So I would like to do that going forward.
Sweet.
Yeah, Jala also streamed a bit, and she's not here to talk about it, but I watched a little bit of it. And I was very pleased to see that the game she played did allow her to interact with burbs of a sort.
Yep. Yeah. Jala picked up a little shift, and Jeremy did as well, and Gwen, Dr. Static from the Slack, picked up. So, guys, I had 8 hours, and I slept for 6.5 of them. It was great.
Cincinnati world domination subplot happening now. We're gonna the Midwest crew grows.
Yes. Oh, so that's kind of my only thing. The only other thing I was gonna talk. I had a regular kind of holiday. It was nice and pleasant. The thing I was gonna tell everybody is, if you do not have one of these in your house, either somebody that you live with or one on your own. I just recently bought myself a better hairdryer, and it's wonderful. I use some of that.
Oh, does it have a diffuser?
It came with one. I don't particularly care for them. The one that I used before was like a little travel one. It did not have the wattage that I needed, but yeah, a hairdryer is a luxury that I don't know how I lived without. So gonna give everybody that idea for what to do with their Amazon bucks.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was that a gift or something you gifted yourself?
Oh, I mean, it was technically a gift because I used an Amazon gift card to get it, but
it counts.
Yeah.
That's I've never understood people who get down on holiday cards or gift cards as a gift. It's not everyone's very good with words. Not everyone is gifts is not everyone's love language. So I extend full appreciation when someone is like, here, I'm not good at this. You do something that makes you happy with this. I want you to be happy. It's I received that as a legit gift.
Yeah, I mean, money is everyone's love language.
Yeah. No, I give
it. Great way to say it.
I give gift cards to to some people because it just. I don't want to give them something they're not going to use. And when somebody gives me a gift card, I always let them know what I get with it. you know? So hey, I really appreciate it. You got me X, Y, or Z. Thanks. You know? Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's my little pro tip. Hair dryers. Good. Who wants to go next? Ben, how are you?
I'm doing okay. I went back to Cincinnati for a week and then got back, I think, last Saturday, but was sick for the second half of the visit to Cincinnati's. That part was not as good, but feeling back to 100% now, so that's all good. So,
Did you have like a place you could stay and like were you able to rest when you were asleep, or was it like all out family stuff?
So ironically enough, I was able to rest more when I was sick than before, because when I was well, I was in Ironton visiting my brother. And when I was there, every morning I'd be woken up by a dog or a baby or both.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Yeah. Are you feeling better now?
Yeah. Back up to 90 or 100%.
That's good.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. How about you, Dennis? What you up to? How was your holiday?
Had a great holiday. Thinking of gifts, my favorite gift was one that I actually somehow spoiled for myself weeks in advance, and will not happen for another month or so. Okay. 2 months, in fact.
Oh shit!
But so
I think I know what it is.
Jen got me tickets to see Les Mis at the Aronoff downtown.
Oh,
cool.
Excellent.
Which is my, like, I'm a sucker for musicals in general, but that one has a special place in my heart. Mm-hmm. And in particular, like early when we were dating, like I had the like 10th anniversary in concert version on video. I was like, you have to watch this, and then proceed to like blubber on the couch watching it while she's just there like, I don't understand. But such is high school. But Jen literally did nothing to spoil it. She had mentioned we had said we were going to go kind of smaller for Christmas, and she's like, well, it might have been a little bit bigger. And that's literally all she said. But we went to see Mean Girls, so we went to see a different play at this theater. And I walked in and I saw this giant banner for Les Mis. And I just turned and made eye contact with Jen, and it's like I immediately knew. I can't explain. It's just like she gave nothing away. Like she said nothing. She did nothing. I just saw this.
I mean, somehow you just knew, or somehow we read each other. That's many years of marriage probably does that.
Yeah. The most like ESP moment I've ever had.
Yeah.
But so it turned out to be correct, and I'm very excited for it. But in my stage, it's all about the kiddos, and so they got their Hot Wheels and their Transformers and the like. But probably the thing I'm most excited about is Luke has decided he is into beatboxing. And I have no idea how he got there, but I'm all about it because he's all about it. Cool. So I dug out my gigantic bass amp from the basement and got him a little, $10 karaoke mic to plug into it for Christmas. And he's just been going nuts on it. And the kid is actually pretty good.
Nice.
So it's a lot of fun to hang out and watch him do his thing and just beatbox with reckless abandon.
You don't question a gift out of nowhere like that. Like,
no, yeah. You have a thing? Oh my God, you have a thing. Sweet.
Cool. All right.
Let's do this. So that's been a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think I posted a video of it to the parents channel in Slack, but I might have to upload some level now that I've talked about it here. It's a good time. So a good Christmas all around. Jen, as Ben, I don't know if it'll make it in, but Ben mentioned in banter, Jen got a little bit sick on the day we were going to go visit with the side of the family that would connect us to Ben. Yeah. So maybe she had the same thing you had. I don't know. But yeah, other than that, it was totally fine.
We got ESP sickness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ben heard a song from Les Mis. Immediately sore got sore. Yeah.
Goodness, yeah. I definitely get allergies when I watch Les Mis.
Yeah, room gets dusty. Yeah. No. That 10th anniversary recording was really good.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, I only ever listened to it like an album form. I don't know if I've ever watched it, but yeah.
It's about the same as watching an album form because it's a bunch of people. Granted, they're
Right.
Just stepping up to a mic, belting out like there's no tomorrow, and then just kind of quietly stepping back.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not actually a musical?
It's an especially musical.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, generally musicals have like choreography. Yeah.
It's mostly like large crowds marching resolutely.
Yeah, in the normal stage production, yeah, totally.
Yeah,
There's like, the whole deal. This is like an in-concert version where it's just like, we're going to collect the top, the top performers in their roles from the last 10 years, get them all on stage together and just listen to what happens.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
which,
that's cool.
I am equally as excited about seeing the actual stage version, though. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Nice. David, how about you? How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I really didn't do much for Christmas. I went back home for Thanksgiving, so that was kind of my home returning. So I just chilled in New York for Christmas. I did go and see all of the lights and stuff at Rockefeller Center.
That's cool.
Sure.
How was that?
It was really cool. Giant freaking tree, tons of people. Saks Fifth Avenue, like the entire wall of their thing was basically a I don't know, like 3-story tall light version of more or less the Disney World castle. Like not literally, but that was more or less
that's what it
what it looked like.
Yeah.
And they had all set to music and that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. Although I was also there while I guess NBC was like letting in or something like that for, I don't know, Tonight Show or whatever is on NBC. I don't get news or don't have cable rather.
Right.
So the streets were just packed. So that was kind of interesting. The first time, being somewhere in on sidewalks in New York and not going someplace quickly.
Yeah, I feel bad for the people who work at Rockefeller Center around the holiday time. How crazy that makes it to go about your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, of all the touristy stuff that I did when I was out there, going to the top of Rockefeller Center at nighttime was one of the more enjoyable.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But didn't get to see it at Christmas time like you did. So
the other highlight was I'm really big into like recycling, that sort of stuff, and so like one of my personal OCD things of the year is getting Christmas presents and then having to figure out like how to dispose of all the packaging and stuff like that.
Right.
And so this year my mother even though I wasn't coming, still wanted to Skype and do kind of a Christmas thing, so I got a stocking in the mail.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
It was made out of a one of those thicker, better quality grocery bags that had been cut into the shape of a stocking and then like hot glued around the edge so that it can simply be recycled.
Oh, nice.
So that was I appreciate the creativity.
Yeah, that's really thoughtful.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Well, that's good that you got to do some special stuff for that.
See, now I'm just thinking about the scenes in venerated movie, The Santa Claus, where they show how even in apartments that don't really have a fireplace, one will grow so Santa can get in. I just imagine that happening around wherever you put your stocking.
Yeah, but I think I live in an apartment that doesn't even have a room for a fireplace.
Through the stove it is.
And then he just kind of like it goes through a crease in the wall like a cat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that seems plausible. Actually, related thing, today was fairly interesting because today was the first day back to work after the holidays for most people, and my work by its nature is very, very dog friendly. So that means that it was also the first day that a whole bunch of dogs had seen their friends for a week.
Awesome.
So the entire thing was just madness.
Oh, yeah. Heartwarming
Did you make any
madness.
new doggo friends?
Yeah, there's I don't know if I've said there's an adorable little corgi that I haven't quite figured out. She will randomly decide that she wants to sit on my lap, which is great, except that she doesn't see any need to provide any warning. It'll just out of nowhere be walking past me, turn, look, and take off at a sprint and jump in my lap.
Yep. The lesson is you must always be ready.
Exactly. She I've also learned that she is very much the instigator. So she's the one, as soon as there's any dog wrestling between any of the other dogs, she immediately makes a beeline to join.
Is this the kind of place where you can just lay down on the floor and be overtaken by dogs?
Nothing's left but your shoes.
So there's also a really cute Australian cattle dog. That's
you don't want one of those jumping up on your lap.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a fun time.
Nice. Well, if any dog is going to jump up on your lap, a corgi is a good one. They're manageable size and mostly floof. So,
fun fact: they are in mythology traditionally the mounts of pixies. Pixies ride specifically corgis.
I can believe that.
Yeah, it seems entirely appropriate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Also, that would make an amazing corgi Halloween costume.
Oh, of course. It must happen.
I may or may not have commissioned card art of such as part of the game, so I'm really excited for it.
Oh, well, now I need to see it when it comes in.
Yes, you will.
Well, that sounds like some banter that we have done. I think that we've got a bunch of show to do. I mean, judging by the fact that we've got so many segments like the grind, the multiplayer, and the end boss. So, given that we have work to do, why don't we get started with The Grind. The Grind, where we talk about the games we have been playing over the last period of time or so, for the last time in 2019 and for the first time in 2020. I am not just vamping because I didn't look up who should go first. David. David, it has been the longest since you have been on, so I will go to you first.
Yeah, so basically my big news is at the suggestion of some people on the Slack, I signed up for Game Pass. And so have been experimenting with playing all the things on PC.
I need something to put in the notes. It can't just be all the things.
Just PC, parentheses, all, in parentheses.
So, I do slightly worry now whether does this now mean that the entirety of Game Pass becomes officially part of my backlog. So that is something I do worry about.
I don't think any court would find that. No reasonable judge would let that verdict through.
That seems fair.
Yeah.
But no, mainly I tried Bloodstained, which is the definitely not Castlevania game by the guy that made Castlevania or whatever.
Yeah. Bloodstained Ritual of the Symphony.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I still have no idea. I'm still completely mystified by the fact that apparently there's another Bloodstained that came out at the exact same time and has more or less the exact same plot.
I mean, that was I think we talked about this some time ago. That was released as a promo. It's like a miniature game to coincide. So they created the NES game that Bloodstained Ritual of the Night would be the sequel to, or the follow-up to.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're made by the same folks, and that one's good, but a little bit too hard for me.
Sure. Yeah, so this one's kind of interesting. So the last actual Castlevania game I played was, I think, the second one with, was it Soma, the silver-haired dude?
Yeah, so the first one would have been Aria of Sorrow. The second one would have been the first Castlevania game on DS, so
Okay.
Dawn of Sorrow.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, I couldn't
everything
remember
was
if-
DS.
Okay, I see how it is.
Yep.
I couldn't decide if that was the first one on DS or the second one. So yeah,
Right.
first one on DS.
Yeah, I went Dawn of Sorrow, Portrait of Ruin, Order of Ecclesia.
Okay. So compared to that one, I don't know how much of this is just like there's been several after it, so maybe it wouldn't be as jarring. But it's really weird playing a Castlevania game that's kind of pseudo 3D. And I don't know, that really gives a much different feel to a lot of it. In that, you know, usually, I guess the game does a lot more with like, you know, dynamic zoom outs and zoom ins and things like that. A lot more, you know, differences in scale in terms of your enemies. Mm-hmm. You know, in the previous games I played, like even a enemy that was supposed to be huge was usually only like 2 or 3 times as tall as your character was.
Right.
Whereas in this, there's a lot, more of a difference. Mm-hmm. Also, there's a lot more of an actual like crafting system that's kind of interesting. You know. And I especially like there's a lot of ways to kind of purposely break it in that, for example, you can basically uncraft any component. So if you can basically you can have situations where you can't get the components to craft what you want, but you can get a something that's made out of those components and basically be able to craft a weapon early.
Yeah, by breaking it apart.
Yeah, so that's been a lot of fun. The other thing that's kind of weird is it is very much like waifu decorating simulator.
Okay.
So like you know, many of your accessories and all of your hats and scarves you get, you know, actually appear on your character, and many of them are just very, very anime-esque.
Very like cheesecakey.
I guess.
I mean, like, are they meant to be like provocative or sexualized?
I would say not so much. Not provocative or sexualized, definitely in terms of like you know, skin, that sort of thing. It's more in terms of, I guess, more kind of the cute side, stereotypical like anime cute side of like you can get bunny ears and cat ears and a beret and, you know, a pirate hat, you know, those sorts of things.
Yeah.
You know, likewise you can you know, pretty extensively change your character's like hairstyle, skin color, eye color, you know, all of that sort of stuff.
Can you change the eye color individually?
I don't think you can do dichromatism. So
it falls short. Falls short of Code Vein.
No. Yeah, that is you, because otherwise that is definitely you know, a required part of my waifu design when I'm doing you know, Dragon's Dogma or, you know, Code Veins of the world, whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. A significant part of this conversation may just be trying to mess with Kole.
No, I'm not here to judge.
As a side note, did you ever mess around with? I sent or posted on the Slack the AI driven anime girl generator?
No, I don't think I did. I think that my eyes rolled off of it. Like this doesn't look like anything to me.
I browsed a bit and I thought it was really funny. The AI does an amazing job with everything except for interpreting where like a collar and skin should combine. So there a ton of the models just have like collars, but then like it just kind of fades into normal clothing, creating these horrible, once you are actually looking at it, abominations with cloth woven into their skin.
Fun.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone's into that.
Yeah, and that's why I'm not putting any of this stuff on blast. Heterochromia, both eyes the same color, waifu priorities. You know what? Everybody's allowed theirs. You know what?
2020, everybody's allowed theirs.
Proceeding.
So overall, just, it's a very good game. Like that's honestly most of my my summary of it. In terms of like storyline or stuff like that, the only thing I kind of like that's a little bit noteworthy is you have a like samurai dude that's I guess it's set at the turn of the Industrial Revolution. I don't think they actually give a year. I think they literally just say that.
Cool.
But you have like a samurai dude that's there to fight demons. That's kind of your, is kind of your rival. And then you end up doing some like, buddy cop type stuff. So that's kind of fun.
Cool.
So, and then other than that, I also gave, We Happy Few a try.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
So that's I know Jala has played this. Have any of you guys?
I have not.
Nope.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. The basic plot line is Germany or at least England lost World War II, and something that I still haven't 100% figured out. And now everyone takes a drug called joy that basically, one, makes them happy at all times, and also makes them forget, basically have no long-term memory. So they, completely don't remember what happened, and don't remember the past, don't think about that sort of thing.
Right.
And your character basically is in charge of censoring, I guess I should say, and then it's developed to be extremely socially taboo to do anything that would make people uncomfortable or remind people of the past. So your character starts out as someone whose job is basically to censor newspaper articles.
Okay.
But you end up, having something that triggers a memory, and you decide to go off your joy, and kind of then adventure ensues.
Okay.
The core gameplay loop, though, is it's basically a stealth game with some simple combat.
Mm-hmm. And like pretty strong, like survival sim kind of stuff, right? Like you're babysitting meters the whole time you're doing it.
Yes and no. On anything except for the most difficult, or the highest difficulty, you can't actually die from having any of your meters, run out. And I think maybe even on the highest difficulty, you can't straight up die. It's just extremely penalized. But I'm playing on medium difficulty on this. Basically, it takes a significant chunk of your stamina if you are starving or dying of thirst or haven't slept.
Okay.
Although where it does get a little more interesting is there's a pretty long, I guess you could say, Act 1 / tutorial introduction. And once you get past that, that's basically when your character is completely exiled. And then eventually you get to the game, which is kind of what, most people know of from like the trailers and stuff, where you're, trying to fit in and, have people not realize that you're off your joy. And one of the wrinkles there is that in addition to the drug being in the pills people are taking, it's also in the water supply. Mm-hmm. So, so if you drink any of the water, you'll start having the side effects of the drug.
Okay.
So it gets a little bit more survivally at that part. I'd say overall, one of the weird things is just the gameplay itself, I would say, is kind of meh and has some of the most unique, I guess, bugs and flaws of anything I've seen, in that I haven't seen anything that's actually been a problem or game break or anything like that. It's more just flaws like the characters care very little, for example, about finding dead bodies.
Okay. Seems like a problem for a stealth game.
Yeah, so you can straight up say there's two people in a room, and it's one of those things where it's the typical stealth scenario of hey, the challenge here is now there's two people and you can only take down one, that sort of thing. If you basically wait for one of them to turn their back, run in, choke out a dude and run away, and then he only has his back turned for a few seconds and then turns back and sees his companion, unconscious on the ground, he'll have no reaction. And
it's actually a human fact that when your mind sees dead bodies, it shunts them directly into long-term memory. So yes. that it's all explained.
Well, that is one of the things. Is it is somewhat unclear how much of this is either intentional or at least isn't explained, because it does seem from some of the flavor text that it is intentional. For example, as soon as you escape, actual pursuit and the characters stop looking for you, they are completely no longer hostile. So you could basically run up, hit someone, run away and hide until they go back to guess it was nothing, and then walk up to the same character and they would have no problem with you. And that is explicitly explained as they're not really paying attention. So
are they taking joy as well? Do they have no long-term memory?
Yeah. So these are characters that are definitely on drugs. So overall, I would say the gameplay is.
They built a game around a bad stealth system, and they justified it with the narrative.
With all the story.
That's awesome.
We can't make dead bodies matter.
Yeah, basically what I'm saying is I suspect some of that happened. So it's but kind of my overall take is that's not really why you're there. It's more just, you're there for a very interesting story. A lot of there's a lot of random events that are going around that are basically your side quests, and a number of them, actually give you background on kind of the world and how it operates and what happened, that sort of thing. But there's a lot of them that are just meant to be just weird and psychedelic and Britishy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's an interesting game. It's I definitely would recommend it. At the same time, it's also a game I kind of hope gets to be a sequel, because I could see it being better if it was tightened up more. Probably the weirdest thing is I actually think it probably would have been a better game if they'd taken out the World War II plot.
Okay.
Just because, personally, I think the question of like what this society did that caused them to choose to forget is less interesting than the question of are your characters better off being miserable but not on drugs?
Yeah. Like, could have been like literally just, horrible poverty and privation,
exactly.
Exploitation by, corporations and stuff like that. I'm just rewriting Outer Worlds, so I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So yeah, it's a very weird game. But I recommend it.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know, I have no idea how it's sold. They didn't really review that well. And, the developers kind of seemed to be more interested in making, film adaptations or comic basically taking their concept into different media. So I've got no idea if we're actually going to see that.
Yeah, and it's almost, to me, maybe that's kind of my feel, is I feel like that's almost would be a better way to do it, in that this might have even been a better game just as a visual novel.
Yeah. Weird. Is that all you got?
Yeah, it is.
Cool. Let's see here. I need to go back to the list. I'm going to do mine because it's just real quick. Because I've been trying to get ahead on Watch Out for Fireballs stuff. The story of my life. David, you should play Dusk. You would love Dusk.
Definitely. I will add that to the list.
Yes. So just as a throwback to, 90s, just hyper-violent shooter kind of things.
Nice.
Yeah, it's made by the same people who did the Rise of the Triad reboot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Anyway, I've mostly just been playing comfort food things on my Switch, in between holiday things and, getting ahead on WoW stuff. So guess what, guys? It's time for a bunch of Picross.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't realize that Jupiter, the people who made Picross S, that they had released 2 additional Picross games for the Switch. Since I last talked about that. So I picked up Picross S2 and Picross S3. I do not necessarily feel up to describing Picross here, but it is a logic puzzle where you use numbers on the side of a grid to lay out dots on a, lay out squares on a grid in order to make a little picture. And boy, Picross S2 and S3 primarily serve as a new way to get 300 extra puzzles. Going from super easy up to mega difficult. S3 is a little bit more successful in terms of the extra thing that it adds. So, both of them add Mega Picross, which changes the way the clue numbers are displayed. But each of them kind of has a different bonus mode. So S2, as you play, you unlock different parts of a clip Picross, which are little puzzles that are of irregular dimensions. So, normally it goes 5 by 5 up to 10 by 10 up to 15 by 15, then 20 by 15. These are weirder shaped dimensions, but the idea being that you are filling out and creating a gigantic tapestry of these, so bigger, complicated scenes. But in effect, it's just solving 60 small puzzles to get the one big picture. So,
well, I have to figure by the time you're at puzzle 58 or 59, it doesn't feel like there's much left to fill in.
No. Yeah. So a little bit of a dud, but again, I am just picking these up for Picross, extra Picross puzzles. S3 is interesting, though, because they took a major leap and they switched it to color Picross, which is crazy. So normally when you're filling out a Picross, it's just, 1-bit information. Is it, is the square filled or is it not? But in color Picross, the clue numbers have different colors, and that changes the logic of the way that they can, be displayed. And it changes basically everything about how you solve them. There are fewer of them, which is good because, boy, it's learning a whole new skill. And Picross S3 has given me a challenge in one of these in a way that I have not had in a while. So big thumbs up to that one.
Oh, that's good.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And like they're super cheap too. Like I think they're both $9 on the Switch, and they are perfect for that system. So yeah. Wait a minute. Nanograms, also known as Picross or Gridlers?
Gridlers? No, that's a McDonald's item.
No, okay. This has been an ongoing thing. Somebody is tormenting me. This has been an ongoing thing on Abject Suffering, and we gave it up. We gave it up because some wiki listed the Gridler as a McDonald Land character. We could not find any video or pictographic evidence that the Gridler exists. And so we had people messaging McDonald's about this, and I look at this link that David posted here, Nanograms, also known as Picross or Gridlers. Somebody's fucking taunting me.
I thought Gridler was the person that terrorized MacMan.
That's Kole. What? That is the Gridler's main MO, is taunting you.
Okay, I'm just going to have to calmly break this to Gary, and we're going to have to reopen the Gridler case.
Goodness.
So those are my answers. Picross S2 and S3, and then I don't know, going around in Assassin's Creed 3, but I don't feel like I have anything interesting to say about that.
So I've got a good segue from that feeling of hey, here's a thing that I've mastered pretty well, and here's a twist on it that is completely changes it or makes me realize there's a whole another level of skill ceiling to get to.
Okay,
so,
yeah. I'll throw it to you.
Jump in on that. It actually happened tonight. We finally finished Overcooked. So Jen and I have been playing through Overcooked. It is a fantastic game. And you are in these kind of crazy laid out kitchens where the ingredients are in one place, the chopping boards are in the other. The stove is on a roller that goes around the edge of the thing. It's just all, craziness. And so you're trying to get these recipes assembled and out in a timely manner, working as a team, when oftentimes, only one of you has access to a certain item, or just you have to coordinate a lot, is the high level of the game. And I believe some of you guys have played this before, right?
Yeah.
Have not, but I've watched it.
Okay. Yeah, and I've talked about it on the show before, but we got to the end boss, which is this crazy thing where there's a helicopter above that lowers down different types of kitchens as you're cooking and completing different segments, and it kind of locks you into different patterns and needs, and it's crazy. It is literally for a game that an average level lasts 3 minutes or so. Yeah. It is a solid 12-minute level. Oof. And incredibly difficult, and takes a ton of coordination. We spent literally it's either 3 or 4 nights working on it, just trying and failing and practicing and getting better and kind of learning the layout of
on this
kitchen.
One level.
On this final boss level. So this and this is the the tightrope you walk. It was frustrating. And it was challenging, but it never crossed over into the fuck this mode, We definitely had points where all right, we are getting worse instead of better. We need to call it. But we, this night, finally just got our routine down. Everything clicked, and beat the final boss of Overcooked. And that was a triumph. That was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
It is what I want communication wise out of every couch co-op game I've ever played. Overcooked does the best job of actually creating it's almost like, fighter pilot dialogue. You know what I'm talking about?
On your 6, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Like, break right. I'm going under. Get the onions. Get the,
get the onions.
It's about to blow. Drop it. Go get it. And it is. It's like, it's intense, and you're trying to balance all these things. But so got through that, won the game. And thanks to the PSN credits that we got from Ben over Christmas, thank you, Ben, I had Overcooked 2 all queued up and ready to go. So the second
Wait a second. Did my uncle say that those are for Luke and Milo?
They are. Luke and Milo are watching us play.
All right, so there it goes. Cool. Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, so it is a most of the time it is a 4-person event, but only 2 of the people are playing.
Okay, all right, got it.
But I so we queued right into Overcooked 2. And it was, it was getting later. It was towards Luke and Milo's bedtime. We're like, we don't want to start a new story campaign on this. There's, Overcooked 2 has seasonal events going on right now. That's cool. Like, let's jump in and just do a couple Christmas themed levels. That'll be perfect, And so we jumped into a kitchen where you're making hot chocolate. And it immediately became clear that these are like end game style levels for Overcooked 2 that were just order of magnitude more complicated than Overcooked. We felt like badasses finishing this final level of Overcooked.
Yeah.
And it was not like this seasonal event level promptly just bent us over its leg, and it was no good. So not only, is it all the chaos of the original game, but there's way more complexity to the recipe. So in the original game, you kind of had to get the ingredients together and get it into a stove or a pot or what have you, and then get it on a plate. But once you got it out of the stove and onto the plate, it was, almost always ready to go. Yeah. Like that was the end of the story. Now you have to do all those steps to get everything together and out of the stove and onto the plate. And then there's a whole menu of like finishing options. So it can't
like
just
garnish and stuff.
Hot chocolate. Yeah, like you can't just make the hot chocolate and get it all cooked and warmed up and ready to go in the cup. That there's your starting point. That's where the first game would always end. But now you have, sometimes they want whipped cream on top. So you have a whipped cream, thing that's like you got to run around with, or maybe they want marshmallows in it. What's that?
Nothing.
Got to hit some whippets is what he said.
Get at the end of it. But yeah, or maybe they want some marshmallows, and so you gotta dice up some marshmallows to drop in, because no one thought to buy normal marshmallows. The marshmallows in this game are like pillow sized. You have to put them on a cutting board and chop them down.
Wait, that's not how you eat marshmallows?
Maybe I'm looking in the wrong places. But yeah, so we did 2 or 3 tries at that and just realized we are out of our depth. We need to learn our way up. So we went and started the normal story campaign, to which we were finishing. That put us back in our skill range, and we were finishing with scores that were 3 to 4 times higher than like the top target. Which felt good. So
getting the end game preview didn't discourage you. It just showed you, hey, this is what we have to expect.
Exactly. No, I'm excited for it. And it's been a ton of fun couch co-op. So looking forward to continuing that. And hey, who doesn't like to make some delicious hot cocoa?
Yeah.
From time to time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's Overcooked and Overcooked 2. Little preview of what's coming up there.
Nice.
I also, with the gift money for Luke and Milo, got the Panic at the Disco download pack, song pack for Beat Saber. And this is because, one, the kids, that is like the one VR game that they can play, and they absolutely love it.
Okay.
But then 2, Panic at the Disco music pack had The Greatest Show on it. And my kids are about everything Greatest Showman. So that was they can now play that.
Yeah.
But that brought me back around to Beat Saber in general. Not that I ever really stopped playing it. Like, it didn't ever quite come out of the rotation, but I've gotten, now back into it in a big way. 1, because of that music pack. And then 2, because when I went back to play that, I realized they have added what's called a 90-degree mode. And I was ranting about this in the Levels channel on Slack. I don't know if you guys saw this.
Yeah.
But it is a version of the game. Normally, when you're playing Beat Saber, it is just one straight hallway that the notes are coming at you down, just like a Guitar Hero track or a DDR track or anything else, just one straight line. 90-degree mode means that there are, I don't know how many it is, probably like 8 or so different tracks coming at you in an arc in front of you.
Oh God.
Any moment, the blocks can be coming at you down one of those lanes, and so now you're truly getting the most out of your VR, kind of turning to play all these lanes at once.
I mean, it almost sounds like it turns it into like a drum set.
Saber.
That is the feeling, and it is, the turning and playing, like it all still forms one cohesive track. Like it's not like you're trying to play 2 songs at once or anything,
right.
But it's all one cohesive whole. But it's just that kind of next level of craziness when everything's coming at you and you got to kind of catch stuff out of the corner of your eye and all of that. So that's a ton of fun.
And so are you hitting the things or?
Yeah. So the basic premise for Beat Saber, there are blocks, cubes, coming at you, kind of flying through the air, and every cube has an arrow on it showing the direction that it needs to be cut, and it has a color telling you what hand it needs to be cut with. And to successfully kind of clear that or cut the cube, you have to hit it in the right direction with the right sword. And then that's all comboed together in a rhythmic way.
Yeah. And there's also ones you have to like duck to avoid and things like that.
Yeah, it's so funny. There are the mines. You're totally right. I have yet to play a song where they're actually placed in a devious like position,
right,
or somewhere that would be actually hard to dodge. The way I've seen them used most of the time is there's like a pause in the song, and they'll be like, "Well, it feels like you should hold still for a second. So look at this mine. Okay, keep going." They never present any real danger.
Gotcha.
But man, like, we talk about VR being kind of all about feeling cool, and Beat Saber was already up there in terms of games that make you feel like a badass. Putting it on this 90-degree arc just takes that to the next level.
Yeah.
So just, it's a whole another experience, kind of just feeling, you in your mind, this crazy block cutting Jedi. I don't know what, it feels cool. So that's a lot of fun.
It's really cool. So, look, my only complaint would be like the electronic music that's in there, like fits, it works. It's not anything I would necessarily like really enjoy listening to on its own, but it fits. All the DLC that they've put out kind of seems to be stuff I wouldn't want to listen to. So like they've got a Green Day pack, and they've got, it's cool that your kids enjoy the Panic at the Disco one. But there's also
that was a 1-song purchase right there.
Yeah. They've got like Imagine Dragons and just a bunch of like rock that doesn't seem like it fits. If I was at this company, I would be going to every single indie game developer and saying, let me track this, like your soundtrack for this. Like imagine like how good the Nier Automata soundtrack would be in this.
Or what's the final song from Undertale?
Oh yeah, Megalovania. Like that would be amazing. Yeah,
that'd be awesome. Yeah. I think part of that might be due to the fact. So this has a PC version, where there's like write your own track software, so you can go and download fan creations of pretty much anything. So I imagine if you were playing on PC, you would get a hold
of that, but on the console it's not.
Yeah, it's like why would we do that when the fans are doing it for us? The other thing that PC has, so PS4 got this 90-degree mode release. Apparently PC already had that, and PC got a 360-degree mode release, which sounds bonkers.
Yeah.
That's some next level junk right there. I'll be interested to see if it ever comes to PS4. I doubt it will.
I don't know that it would work. Like if you try turning around in the when I've tried turning around in the PSVR, like it's thrown a fit about like, hey, you're out of range.
You're out of range and all that. Yeah, it's interesting because the headset actually does have lights on the back of it.
It might just be the angle that I have my camera at too.
Yeah, well, no, I've had much the same experience. So, but for the time being, 90-degree mode is more than sufficient. My only complaint, and it's hard to even call it that, is with the 90-degree songs. Most of them, one song has one level of difficulty. So it's like they added 90 degree mode to a song, but they only added it at the hard difficulty or the easy difficulty or what have you. And that's, there's some expert right now in 90 degree mode is just outside of my ability to do. Right. And so there's a whole bevy of songs at the expert and expert plus level that is just like, well, it's cool. I'll get to it someday. And it's like, easy and normal are too easy. Hard is like that sweet spot, and then expert is like, again, gets out of my grasp. But they only have one song that's the hard difficulty. Everything else is either in one of those other two categories above or below.
So there's nothing to like bridge the gap.
Yeah. No, I've still had a blast with it. It's just an odd. Especially, I wonder if it's that same way in the PC version or if they've got more difficulty levels there. And if you did, why would you hold them back? And so that's the one complaint. An interesting thing and very of the new year is I'm looking to get back into a better routine in terms of fitness. And I was like, I wonder if I work up a good sweat playing Beat Saber. I wonder if VR fitness is a thing. And oh my God, it totally is. So there's
particularly Beat Saber.
Well, it Beat Saber for sure. But there's a ton of boxing games out there. The best one, or the top rated one, Box VR is like even more explicitly like a fitness training thing. And so I'm gonna pick some of that up, and I'm picking up. I've got some like wrist weights that I've been looking at. Should be here soon, and that just is a nice little upper body workout in VR.
Nice. So
yeah, I was talking about this in the wellness channel on Slack, but for someone who intense workouts are weirdly linked in my brain to having a stroke, and so that tends to I've kind of fallen away from some of the more intense workout stuff I've done because of that. It seems like gaming in this VR setting is a weird hack of that. Like it's because it's gaming, it's immune to that. And so I've kind of found this nice little side door back into fitness that I'm looking forward to exploring.
Nice.
Yeah.
Keep us apprised of what you find.
Will do. So that's Beat Saber, and a whole bunch of fun new stuff there.
I feel like I need to point out, if you enjoy Beat Saber, have I introduced you to stick fighting?
Yeah. I feel like I need someone to stick fight.
How's the music in stick fighting?
Mostly yelling.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Long history of it, actually.
Ooh.
Very percussive, I imagine.
Yeah. Very drum heavy. Gamelong's really big.
I don't know what gamelan is.
Basically, like in Indonesia, Philippines, that sort of thing.
Very cool.
Cool.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that all you got?
So, there's one more thing I wanted to mention. I'll probably go more in depth on it later on, but I found a game called Spelldrifter through Apple Arcade.
Okay.
It is a turn-based tactics game, a la Final Fantasy Tactics, using a deck building system to determine what abilities are available to you at any point, and it is phenomenal. So I'll talk more about that at a later point. But
cool.
There's some good stuff hidden on Apple Arcade.
The character on the Apple Arcade icon looks to be legally indistinct from Geralt.
Yeah, he kind of is a Geralt-like.
It is Geralt. Cool.
But yeah, that's me.
Yeah, Ben, bring us home.
All right, I got a bunch of tiny things for the most part. So the oldest one that I played a couple weeks ago, but I don't think we've talked since then, is I played a game called The Hex. This came out in 2018, so it's a little bit of an older game, but for some reason it just flew under my radar. This was made by the same person who made Pony Island. So it's like kind of a single game designer / programmer who hires other people for like music and art and stuff like that. But The Hex is a really interesting game. It's a indie game. It's a short game. It's only like 6 hours long, and which is apropos of the title and the theme of the game. Basically, the premise of the game is you're at a hotel. There's 6 different guests there, and there's a hotel carekeeper. Is that it? Is that the word? Yeah.
Sure.
carekeeper. Is that the right word? Whatever. I'm having a stroke. I must have exercised too hard. But he receives a phone call and says that there's going to be a murder tonight, and it was just the like whodunit type thing of the game. And so you kind of cycle through playing as each of these characters. And the narrative of the game is you find out that each of these characters are video game characters, and you find out about their past. Yeah. And so basically, in practice, what it's doing is the game itself is kind of like the movie Boyhood, but for video games. It's like the history. It's like the history of video games. So the first character is this kind of like Crash Bandicoot / Mario type character, and so it goes through the history of the platforming games that they had, and I won't say what the twists are, but each of the games that you play has some sort of mechanical twist that happens partway through it, and it kind of ties into kind of like the meta narrative. So the genres kind of span the different game genres that there are. There's like a platformer, there's like a fighting game, there's a Final Fantasy-esque game, there's a space shooter, like Space Marine shooter type game, and then there's like a Fallout type game. And yeah, so it's very interesting because not only is it like a love letter to video games and how they've developed, it's also kind of like a cautionary tale of like showing which direction they're going and kind of like painting, I don't know, some criticisms of that. But yeah, I don't know. It's a bite-sized game. It's pretty delightful. Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have any questions about it? I don't want to say much more. I don't want to spoil anything about it, but
I mean,
it seems like a cool concept.
Does it follow in the kind of in the path of Pony Island in terms of having like you think you're playing one thing and then suddenly you're doing something wildly different?
It does that in terms of like there's surprises to each of the games that you're playing, kind of like mechanically what's going on. So like like narratively, there's like a lot of twists and things that will make you that'll surprise you and make you smile and that type of thing. And that's all like really good. That's all like really well done. Yeah, afterwards I watched a video of the game designer talking about kind of like doing a postmortem of the game and talking about the pros and cons of like of the things that he was happy about that he achieved and things that he thought he could have done better. So that was kind of interesting as well. I think we talked about this game very briefly in a news story because there was a news story about this where there's an ending to this game that's in another game that you have to like uncover clues to figure out. it's but in no way obvious. Like you need like a group of, similar to like PT, you need a group of people to figure this out. So I think we've mentioned this like maybe, a year or two ago, at least that aspect of it maybe. But yeah. In any sense, it's, for the most part, it's a very delightful game. The video game commentary that it has is really good, and it's only 6 hours long, so it's not too long or anything like that. It doesn't overstay its welcome. Yeah, it's worth checking out, I guess. Nice. Yeah. All right. And then on top of that, most of these games are like bite-sized games because of holiday season and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I also got Gris.
Oh yeah, Gris.
Sure.
Yeah.
Gray. However you pronounce gray in Spanish, I believe is what it is.
I think that I tried to say it at one point when I played it, and Jala told me I would be unable to pronounce it correctly. So I say Gris, but.
Yeah, I think what she said is that if you pronounced it correctly, you would summon the old ones.
Yes, so it is best not to.
Okay, I'm going to call it Gray.
Yeah, Gris if people are searching for it.
It's a beautiful, beautiful game. It's one of the best presented games that I've played in a long, long time. Mm-hmm. The art style is gorgeous. Like all the animations are beautiful. They're very like geometrically inspired too, which is I think one of the reasons why I like it a lot. Mm-hmm. The mechanics themselves is fine. Like the puzzles, they're fine. Like they're not like I'm not gonna like remember any of them in like 3 to 6 months from now. I'm not gonna, there's nothing that is like, oh, that was like a great puzzle or anything like that.
It was an awful lot of like walking in one direction until something lit up, and then walking as far as I could in the other direction until something lit up. Yeah. It was enough complexity to make you have to think about it for a little bit and not like directly do the thing.
so it was serviceable, I guess. It's basically a means to get you to the beautiful things that you're getting to, I guess.
Right.
The weird thing is, like, the game is about, like, death, maybe. I only say this because there's 5 achievements for the stages of acceptance, I guess.
Grief, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess maybe it's not necessarily death, but some sort of tragedy. It's kind of the thing that's kind of cool about the game is it doesn't use any like language or anything like that. It's like similar to Journey. It's a very like universal game where anybody on the planet could probably play this and like have a connection to it, you know? Yeah. So I thought that aspect was really cool. But at the same time, it makes it a little bit ambiguous about like what it's actually about. You don't get many details on it. But that's a 3-hour game. That's very tiny. Presentation is beautiful, so if you like looking at beautiful things, go for it. But the gameplay is just kind of so.
Yeah, it's available on like everything too. Like it's on iOS at this point, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, and then I got one tiny other one. This was another Christmas gift. I played Steamworld Quest: Hand of Gilgamech.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's fine. That's my patented review. It basically, I'll put it this way: I played it for 10 hours yesterday, so it was fun enough to sustain my interest.
Wow,
that much, you know?
Yeah, for the majority of your waking hours.
Yeah,
yeah.
But then I went and played Slay the Spire after that. I'm like, man, this game's so much better. So take that how you will. There's more of a narrative in SteamWorld Quest. There's kind of like cartoony type characters and stuff like that. The story is not particularly deep. Yeah. It kind of seems more like a kid's story or something like that. That is kind of a means to get you from place to place. But like the level design itself is pretty simple. The main mechanic is trying to find treasure chests, and they'll do things like try and hide them in places like, oh, you can really go further left on the map than you thought you could. Yeah. There's a treasure chest there. Which is fine. The deck building part's pretty cool. The combat system's pretty cool. I think that's why I played it for as long as I did. A nice mechanic that they did over something like Slay the Spire is you have multiple people in your party instead of a single person. And when you draw cards, you're drawing cards for each of those people. And they make it so that if you play only cards of a particular person, like 3 cards in a row, you typically can only play 3 cards in a turn. Mm-hmm. If you play all from the same person, then you get an added like attack bonus from them.
Oh, nice.
And that's based on the equipment they have. So if you get like a new like sword or spell book or something like that, that changes what the 4th attack is. Mm-hmm. So that's a really cool added mechanic. They also have a thing where you can redraw up to 2 cards every round. So you can like pitch 2 and redraw. To kind of like basically even things out so you don't get stuck with like, I don't know, cards that might not be playable for some reason. Like if a party member dies, you can't play those cards anymore.
Yeah.
So that's like a cool added mechanic that they have. Another thing that I liked about it over the Slay the Spire, which is saying something, is that you can change out the deck at any time. So, you know, as you progress through the game, you find different cards. And so you can kind of build your own deck. There's also, you can unlock new cards, like buy them from a merchant. So I think that's all really well done. The only thing is I think that there's the design of like what you can do with the different decks is pretty shallow. It's not as deep as something like Slay the Spire, or like there's not as many like combinations or explosive things you can do with it.
Right.
So like I kind of picked one deck that I thought was pretty good and stuck with it. And I mean, I think, yeah. So that was one aspect I didn't like about it as much. So it's kind of like, you know, there's some few positives that it has over something like Slay the Spire. I'm sorry that I keep comparing it to that, but that's kind of like the de facto like good deck building game that I've played recently. Mm-hmm. So there's some things that are better than it, but for the most part, I would say just stick with Slay the Spire if you haven't played that game already. So.
Is SteamWorld Quest, is it more accessible than Slay the Spire? Because I am intimidated by Slay the Spire.
Oh, I mean it's more of a narrative, and it's like. It's more of a cutesy art style. Like one of the bosses is a robot that has a head that's a bird cage with a bird in it, and the bird's yelling at you. Like that's cute.
Yeah,
that's fine. But so I mean, there's things like that. So if that kind of interests one more, then that's the way they should go with. Slay the Spire, you shouldn't be too intimidated by it, or I don't know. Well, you shouldn't do that. Slay the Spire does a good job of kind of like easing into things because you unlock cards as you play the game there.
Okay.
So at the outset of the game, the cards are pretty simple, and there's, it's only so much you do.
It's one of those things, like I see how many hours people put into it on Steam, and it makes me pause and think, is that how many hours it takes, or is that how many hours it demands?
It's not how many hours it demands, because like a single run through of Slay the Spire lasts at most like hour and a half maybe.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But like I played like last night, and I played in like 10 or 20 minutes because I died early. But
can't you just declare that the next Watch Out for Fireballs game?
I mean, we could, but I could do that with anything on my backlog. Like I could do that with Disco Elysium. And
also, question is, why don't you?
I mean, we announce those weeks in advance, and those are often paid for by patrons. So yeah.
Become a patron. Make it happen.
Yeah. Put in my own money to something on that. That's not how this is supposed to work, guys.
I was speaking to anyone but you in that situation. Right, but yeah.
But I mean, like, so it's not, have you played any of the other Steamworld games, Ben?
I have not, because don't they kind of span different genres?
They do,
yeah.
Like they
so Steamworld Dig is the main one I'm aware of, and that's a really interesting, like Minecraft-ish, Terraria-ish game.
Yeah, it's more like it is a resource heavy platformer almost. Like it's Minecraft insofar as you are like going after like blocks as you go down, but it's more about like harvesting resources so you can go back up to the surface and sell them in order to buy something that will let you get deeper. And then like SteamWorld Dig 2 expands on that and becomes a little bit more of a regular platformer, and it has one of the most fun grappling hooks that I've seen in a game like that.
So SteamWorld's kind of doing the same thing that Hex is doing, but just one game at a time of the 6.
It's like it is a unified aesthetic and a unified like just kind of world that is going on. The one that I have not played very much of is SteamWorld Heist. That is like a turn-based, squad-based stealth game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe if you're really into the other games and like the theming of it, then you'd be into this one, I guess.
Yeah.
Independent of the mechanics of what's going on.
It's cute.
Yeah.
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 Nice. SteamWorld Quest, Hand of Gilgamech. I think that's a good name too.
It strikes me as one of those games where the name came first.
I think maybe.
Guys, we have to do it now.
Oh yeah, no, okay. Well, which one of you had the prototype for that deck building game? All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Is that all you had, Ben?
Yep. I need to go back to Deep Rock Galactic and Disco Elysium, I think.
Yeah. Well, things are settled down. You're not doing a lot of traveling. You're not sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Multiplayer.
Now it is time for the multiplayer, where normally we ask you a question, and then you answer it. However, because this is an episode whose number is divisible by 5, we are doing a free play multiplayer where you ask us the questions and then we answer them. And stick around, because the back half of this is going to be the reveal of who won the Title of the Year awards.
Mm-hmm.
Not who, which title.
Wait, where's the picture? Where's the picture of my face?
That's a good question.
I actually expected it this year.
Oh yeah, no, it's in the poll.
You got a new updated one.
Oh my god!
Hold on, I'm not on the computer that has it saved. Yeah, it's pretty clutch.
All right.
So
thank you.
I will get us started here with the questions that people asked us. Mike writes, I just bought myself a PlayStation 4 Pro as a Christmas present. What are 5 games I should absolutely play besides Bloodborne, obviously?
And we'll work from the assumption that he didn't own a normal PS4.
Yes.
Before.
Yeah.
Also, the correct answer is there are no games you should play besides Bloodborne.
I mean, Bloodborne's a really good one, and if we're taking that as read, we each have one game to recommend. And I'm going to say Marvel's Spider-Man.
It's a good one.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so are we assuming PS4 game? Like, we're assuming he already has a PS3 and has played the good PS3 games.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Right.
probably a good one.
So
Right.
so like The Last of Us Remastered would be a weird one, but also
Yeah.
we might be able to assume that Mike doesn't have like an Xbox One or like a super good PC,
Yeah.
mostly because like actual exclusives are hard to find.
I'll chime in
Yeah.
with God of War and get that one off the list.
Yeah.
Horizon Zero Dawn for
I knew
me.
you'd say that. And
David.
what you got, David?
Yeah, I think I'd go with probably Monster Hunter World.
Let's see. Let's see here. A lot of these were recommended. So God of War and Monster Hunter were both recommended. So some people responded with their own, along with Uncharted. The whole series is available on PS4. Nier Automata, that's a good game. Resident Evil 2, the remake is very good. And, of course, Warframe. So,
Oh,
you know,
Warframe, of course.
yeah, just
What
just
exclusives does PlayStation have anymore?
I mean, like,
We pretty much covered them.
yeah. A lot of them. We did the three big ones: Spider-Man, Horizon, and oh gosh,
God of War?
yeah. Mm-hmm. God of War.
I will say, if you like Bloodborne, if you play and like Bloodborne, Code Vein is got a very Bloodborne vibe to it. So
Nice.
put that on your radar. I would not play it before I play Bloodborne, but if you play Bloodborne, you're like, hey,
I want some more of that.
Yeah, I want some more of that, and I wish it was a little more anime. Then man, have I got you covered.
Yeah, see, now I'm just feeling bad that after the this grind, I can't tease you about Code Vein waifus.
Let's see here. Okay, Greg asks, what's a game that you respect and admire a lot and can understand why it's loved, but you just never got into it despite giving it the old college try?
It's fighting games in general for me.
That would probably be my answer as well. Like, I will occasionally get one with stars in my eyes and think, okay, this will be the time. Often because people will say, oh, this is the one for people who are new to fighting games. And it's not.
Designed for a controller.
It never is. So, and this is good. This goes back to like, ooh, I'll get this version of Street Fighter 2. They can't, no, okay. Virtua Fighter 4 on PS2? Nope. Dragon Ball Fighter Z? This one's made for babies? Nope. Okay. It's just not for me. I will admire it from afar.
I have Injustice Gods Among Us sitting on my PS4. I just haven't even started it yet. Like I want to like it. I don't. So
yeah.
If nothing else, I really enjoy appreciating Justice how many alternate characters they found ways to fit into that game.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an
I think for
example?
my answer,
Oh, good. Good. But
I think for my answer, I would say like really long RPGs. Like I know some people want like super meaty 40 to 80 hour type games.
Yeah.
That's something that like a lot of times like Assassin's Creed Odyssey was like the closest that I came to playing something like that. But even that, after like a certain number of hours, I'm just kind of done.
yeah. No, I was surprised when you put as much into Octopath as you did.
Oh, I don't think I think I played Odyssey more than I did Octopath.
How about you, David?
I'd have to say probably actually fighting games. I'm now legitimately at the point where I can parry attacks better in real life than I can in a game. Because I cannot at all in a game.
Yeah. Huh.
I'm not good at it in real life, but I can at least do it some.
Yeah. Christopher writes, any restaurant go-tos, like stuff you order over and over again? I'm super basic when it comes to this, and at this point, all I can say is like the stuff that I'm like hungry for because I haven't had it in a long time because it's just not around here. Like, I would kill somebody for some pho right now, and there's just no like I'd have to go to Columbus or Cleveland to get like any pho. So That's where I'm at right now.
Just come to Seattle.
Yeah, I'm positive you have amazing pho up there, but
Oh, sure.
yeah.
Oh, boo.
How about y'all? Any like not just like a particular like restaurant, but like the item that you get to pressure test a restaurant?
I actually have a go-to restaurant that I cannot for the life of me explain why.
Okay.
But it's actually
Chili's.
a chain called I need my baby back. I don't know what to say. Johnny Carino's. It's like an Italian chain.
Mm-hmm.
And they used to have one right up, near where we live. And for what I can't explain it. I can't point to one special thing about it.
Okay.
Other than that just became our spot for a while. And it was like to the point where management started recognizing us, and that felt a little weird. And the place, unfortunately, since shut down. So it's something else now. And we haven't had it for years, but that's the one place generally, like, I'm always about the variety, and I want to go somewhere new, try something I haven't tried before.
Yeah.
And that takes precedent over having a place. But this was our place. And we visited some friends down in Lexington recently, and lo and behold, there was a Johnny Carino's. And we literally drove past it on our way in, got to their house, and was like, "Hey guys, how you doing? Did you guys know there's a Johnny Carino's? Can we go there tonight?" And they were super cool and indulged us. And it was magical. Have the chicken diavolo should you be able to find one.
Okay.
Yeah, it is super basic Italian place. Like, it is Olive Garden. They just gave it a different name. Yeah. But it was our place, so go figure.
I feel like Johnny Carino would be my name if I was a race car driver.
Because it has car right in it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It means tiny car in Italian.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Oh, man. How about you, Ben?
I think this is a tough one. For me, it's like restaurant go-tos I think of in like what city I'm in. It's like you need to go to these like 4 or 5 places because it's better than anywhere else. So for my current one, I'll say there's a dumpling place called Din Tai Fung that's downtown that is delicious. Mm-hmm. If anyone listening is ever in Seattle, I will gladly go there because it's more family style. So it's like I have to wait for 2 to 3 people to be visiting before I can go there. So
how about you, David?
I think for me, I'd probably go with chicken tikka masala and saag paneer. Also, probably my weirdest thing, I guess this is just food in general as opposed to restaurant food, is like the one food I get, I don't know, nostalgic for, or like, you know, it's like a food I can't get easily is macaroni and cheese.
Okay.
Say more.
Yeah.
As the father of a 5-year-old, I am up to my neck in macaroni and cheese. So.
Oh, really?
Oh, well, you know, off-the-shelf box macaroni and cheese.
Right.
I imagine you have something a bit more sophisticated in mind.
Well, I mean, I guess I would be fine with Stouffer's or whatever. Whatever the craft stuff is, I don't think contains any mac or cheese.
Yeah, it is entirely fabricated. Yeah.
But yeah, like something like Stouffer's would be acceptable. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, something I actually had for the first time recently was macaroni and cheese waffles, which is pretty amazing.
What?
We just pour macaroni and cheese over a waffle iron.
Okay. I mean, is this something that a person on drugs did?
I cannot confirm or deny how it started, but no, I went to a restaurant down in Huntsville, Alabama that was their thing.
Okay. It sounds like it would make it crispy.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. Not to extend food chat, but my actual answer for this, as opposed to pho, I cannot get inaccessible pho. There are
Phantom pho.
there are a good number of it's like American Mexican restaurants around where I live, Tex-Mex and what have you. And when I go to one of those, like a sit down Mexican restaurant, I will generally go for the enchilada. There's something about that sauce, guys. An enchilada. I prefer the green sauce enchilada is my preferred.
So
enchiladas are good stuff.
Yeah.
Can I tell a quick food story just apropos of nothing?
Yes, you may.
So the day before Christmas Eve, so I don't know, Christmas Adam, there was almost no one that actually came into the office. So people decide like, all right, so the company's gonna pay for everyone to go have lunch.
Very nice.
That actually came and called up this new Italian place down the street. We get there, it's a tiny place. Like I said, not many people in for work, and we still filled up the entire store.
Okay. And
they apparently decided like this would be a great time to shoot a commercial because we're eating, and all of a sudden like there's people going around with like cameras on like the I don't know, the mounts so you can hold them steady, taking films, and they've like they're teaching us how to like say Merry Christmas in Italian, and so like whenever someone walks in the door, everyone shouts, I don't know, something that sounds like I'm reading the Olive Garden menu.
Fun.
And they at some point like have one of my managers, stand on the other side of the restaurant, and they make a calzone and like chuck it across the restaurant to them to catch, and just crazy stuff. I literally have no idea what was happening, but that's as
this
much
sounds
as
fantastic.
I think they were trying to
was an
get rid of you guys.
time, but I'm like, I'm having the greatest time ever. I don't know what's happening.
Let's see here. Casey asked 2 questions. First, what you drinking? And second, any thoughts on Games Pass? Xbox Game Pass, rather. Do any of you have it, or have you tried it?
See earlier.
Yes, see earlier. David is the only one of us who has tried it. He can fill us in with how he feels about it. I was drinking a mostly flat Diet Coke from earlier in the day, and then I got myself a Rheingeist Truth that I had in the fridge. So just a fun IPA.
I've got a Warsteiner Dunkel in my hand right now.
Love Warsteiner Dunkel.
I have a cookies and cream milkshake.
Oh, indulgence.
Yeah.
Wait, where? Have you been nursing it this entire time?
No, that's where I went and got.
Gotcha.
Whoa.
He went down the street.
Yeah.
No, it's not that hard. It's literally 2 ingredients.
No, there's cookies, there's cream, there's milk, and there's shake.
Okay. 4 ingredients. Jeez.
What's your secret ingredient? Shake.
like bad weed?
I'm drinking a carbonated water, or a fizzy water, as Jolly would call it.
Yeah. It's so technical that you call it carbonated water. Yeah.
Really? Is that weird?
It's pretty technical. Yeah.
It's carbonated dihydrogen monoxide.
I feel like this is like the new pop versus soda for our generation.
It's a virgin White Claw.
Oof.
Also, I'm a big proponent of hydrogen hydroxide.
Oh, geez. So like, how do you feel about Games Pass? I know you talked about a couple of games that you played on it, David, but do you feel like you're getting $10 a month worth?
Yeah, it's especially worth if you are doing the PC. I don't know quite how the I don't know if, like, theoretically, if I owned an Xbox, if I have Game Pass on Xbox, so I don't know if the pricing's the same, that sort of stuff. But at least for PC, it's definitely worth it now because it's currently on sale. Right. But I think even at full price, you know, at least right now, it seems like they're very much in the kind of the Epic Games Store, like, we want to attract people to this, so we're going to make absolutely sure that this is a good value.
Right.
So, you know, as example, what they added Outer Worlds very shortly, like less than a month after it came out. Yeah. They just added Phoenix Point.
Okay.
So, you know, it seems like they're very explicitly, you know, trying to put on good games. Mm-hmm. I think it's probably also a really good deal if, kind of like me, you're someone who... So I think it's especially a good deal for getting your backlog of, like, maybe not necessarily, like, earth-shattering, like, Game of the Year games, but, like, the games that are just, like, you can recommend to anyone and you'll have fun. Right. So, like, I'm assuming that Gears of War 5 is not going to, like, change anyone's lives. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I feel like there's no one who doesn't like playing Gears of War.
Right.
And so I think that's kind of, you know, the really, really good market. The only bad thing I could say for it is just it's got some weird things with, compared to Steam, it takes a long time to download.
Right.
But that's not that big of a deal.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I had heard people like whisper about it, and then all of a sudden I was hearing it everywhere. So
it's so funny to me that the solution. I'm in the very fortunate position where, you know, I have time is the limiting factor in what I can play, right? Mm-hmm. And it's very weird to me that the solution that's emerging for that problem is here, pay a little bit, and then we'll give you so much stuff that you can't possibly get to it all, and that'll make you feel better about not having enough time to play.
Yep.
Whereas if you sink a bunch of money into a single game, mm-hmm. you feel obligated to finish it, and not bad. But here It's just like, I can't possibly get to all of it, so it doesn't matter how much I can just sit back and enjoy myself.
It's a really interesting model.
Yeah. I really wish Steam or someone would somehow come up with some sort of, like, indie game subscription. Because there's all these, you know, like, you know, $5 to $15 indie games that I'm sure there's some of them I'd like, but I don't necessarily know which one. You know, just like, you know, Dusk has been on my radar for a long time, mm-hmm. but, like, it was never in a situation where it was like, yeah, I think I might like that, but, like, you know, that's not right now what I want to take a gamble on, if that makes sense. So, you know, other than having Kole play every game I'm interested in playing and tell me whether I should get it, I feel like, you know, I wish they would come out with some sort of, I don't know, indie union, you know, subscription or something.
There kind of is. Like, this is not a feature that they advertise as part of the service, but if you subscribe to Humble Monthly, you get access to something called the Humble Trove, which has a bunch of indie games on it, including, like, you know, ones that you have heard of. You know?
Okay, so that might
be. Put a link in there. Yeah. So like you can do that and play Tacoma, which is a really good game.
That is definitely on my radar.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. You can play like Wilmot's Warehouse, which is really good. You can play Penumbra. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff on there that you can just get and play for free as well.
Okay, so because I mentioned this on the games channel on the Slack, and someone mentioned Humble Monthly. Mm-hmm. But I thought they're just referring to, like, if you subscribe to Humble Monthly, you'd mm-hmm. in effect be doing what I'm doing, because, like, most of the good indie games eventually show up there. So I thought that's what they meant. I didn't realize there was actually like that sort of thing.
Yeah. So like there's like a bunch of the stuff I haven't heard of, but like, I don't know. Seems like a pretty good way to play Torchlight 2 and Super Meat Boy, which are just like two of these that I see right here. Sexy Brutale, Trine, you know, a bunch of good stuff on there. Soma. Nice. Soma's amazing. Yeah. Like I don't mean to like, you know, shill for that service or whatever.
No, I mean, yeah, that sounds like exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
Let's see here. Moving on here. Dan asks, how do you switch on the pod smile? That's in quotes. Quotes. Switch on the pod smile, even when you've had a rubbish day or argument with a significant other. All the shows always sound like everyone's on the top of the world.
Sure.
Don't
well, we
have a significant other. Just kidding.
I was going to say, we always, or almost always, have kind of a check-in or hang out a little bit before we start recording. It's always cathartic. Usually the stuff that is not so great comes out then, which, you know, sharing stuff with friends is cathartic. So by the time we get around to hitting the record button, I'm usually feeling a little better about that.
Yeah. I thought of that as well. And there are some episodes where it's like, it's just a downer episode because we talk about politics or the world and whatever.
Yeah. Even if I have had a bad day, recording is never the worst part of it.
Yep.
You know? So like at the very least, I'm happy to be talking with my friends.
Yeah.
You know, whichever show it is. Like, you know, there is some element of professionalism to it. You know, you don't want to show up like Eeyore, which is what I am. Well, what's that?
For most of us.
But yeah. So I mean, there's some element of that. But like, generally, even if I am feeling like shit, it's good to get on and talk with people. So, you know, you can
also, if you're
put it aside for a second.
If you're feeling bad, you can kind of fade into the background and let the other people talk as well.
Yes.
Also, I'm just glad to hear this message because I usually end each episode feeling super nervous that like I was way too cynical this week.
No, you're fine.
It's interesting. There's a good and a dark side to being, like, at least for me, I'm very much wired that I guess it's being extroverted, right? You know, if you feel like you're one, talking with friends, but then two, it's going to an audience or something that's just like fun about that and exciting about that, and I think that naturally comes out. The dark side about that is you know, getting into a place where you feel like you have to perform and aren't actually yourself. But I think there's also a place to be healthy with that, and it's just like acknowledging, like, yeah, that I do enjoy that. That is fun for me, and so the fact that it does cheer me up is like not a bad thing. That's something I can lean into.
Yeah. Yeah, I never feel like I am not my genuine self when I'm on, even if I am, you know, choosing for that moment not to be, you know, as morose as I may sometimes feel, you know, because oftentimes how you feel is a little bit of a choice, or that is one way to conceive of mood. Like, I will choose to try to be happy for just a little bit, and then I can be sad for the rest of the day.
Yeah, quit choosing to be depressed, people.
That is exactly what I was trying to avoid saying.
I was saying, Kole,
dang it, man.
Haven't you read the reviewers that clearly know you better than you know yourself? You are sad and unhappy to be here.
Oh, yeah, that is precisely what I was not trying to say. Was stop choosing to be depressed. But it's just, you know, it's work. All of this is, you know, it's all work.
None of it fun. All work.
Yeah, also exactly not what I was trying to say.
So this is why I enjoy being on the podcast, because I get to take pot shots at people and things in the news. So.
Yep.
Oh, geez. And we've got one last one here. Ollie writes, do you think humor works in video games? Usually it feels forced to me, and unlike a movie, which will be over in a short time, I find that if a game feels forced, I'll just go and play something else. Yeah, I've definitely laughed my ass off of video games.
The two examples that... Oh, go ahead.
I'm a bad person to ask because I've learned that, I don't know, I very much have, I guess, high susceptibility in terms of like overall tone of a game. So, generally speaking, if a game, wants to be funny and like is at least somewhat competent, usually I'll experience it that way. Mm-hmm. However, it works for me. I could see that not extending to other people.
Yeah.
I think where video game humor fails is when it tries to emulate sitcom movie humor too closely, which is I'm going to tell you a joke. Mm-hmm. Where I see video game humor really shine is when it presents an amusing playground or an unexpected concept. Yeah. The game that always sticks out in my mind is the Rayman games for the current generation of consoles. And just I think it's Rayman Origins and Rayman Legends are hilarious games. And there's never even a word spoken in them. It is just, it exudes just kind of a funny presence. And hey, you can slap your co-op partner silly should you so choose. And it's that kind of stuff that gets me, which, I've seen games try to do humor the other way, the traditional way, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
I will never not love Lord Shaxx, though.
What?
From I think Dennis is the only one that can back me up on that. From Crucible for Destiny.
Just the kind of over the top man.
Yeah, the announcer for that is both amazing and is actually a really clever way to encourage people not to get tilted.
All right.
I definitely think humor can work in video games. Stanley Parable, for example, was a lot of fun playing it, and then it got even funnier afterwards, learning how much David hated the game. So.
Someone pointed out, by the way, now is about the time where most people should be able to go back and get that "Don't Play for 5 Years" trophy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
At least Stanley Parable sticks out to me as having like gameplay based jokes, like just gags and the things that you do and the way that it responds to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's a interesting one because I've read some things on like theory of humor, not so much because I have any capability of using them, but more just I find it interesting.
Right.
And there's a lot of one of the theories is kind of humor is truth plus pain. And, it's something that is true but shouldn't be, that sort of thing. I feel like Stanley Parable plays on that a lot. Mm-hmm. And one of the things is, like, the corollary to that is, generally speaking, if someone who doesn't get or appreciate those jokes, it's usually because they don't accept the truth behind them. And I feel like that was sort of my experience with Stanley Parable in that, like, most of the jokes didn't land for me because I guess I just found them to be kind of what they literally were, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
So, like, like the things where it's, I don't know, the sequence where it's like you're in a elevator for like way too long. I just found it annoying that I was in an elevator for way too long, as opposed to being kind of a meta joke about that.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Point being, I think it is very, very good humor, even though it does nothing for me.
Right. Like I think that humor works in video games. There are many games that I love, kind of solely for the value of the humor. Deadly Premonition is a funny game. West of Loathing, I was laughing my ass off just to tears playing that. Even going back to like WarioWare and something like that, or Parappa the Rapper, Katamari Damacy, fucking funny game, guys. That said, like, humor is one of the most subjective things in the entire world, probably next to only horror, really. And a joke that doesn't land, well, great. And if the joke doesn't land, I can see not wanting to spend 10 to 80 hours with it. So,
So, question. This is only tangentially related, but it's something I've been thinking about a lot. what do you think? How fair is it, do you think, to... So it seems to me if you look at like a game that will make jokes about something that's kind of, say, borderline politically incorrect, so like, sexual jokes or those sorts of things, a lot of the degree to which whether, you can get, a game can get away with that is whether their jokes are actually witty.
I mean, that's the same way in real life too. You can, if you're going to push up to the edge, you better make damn sure you're really, really funny.
Which I feel like
make sure you're Dave Chappelle.
I mean, from a practical standpoint, that's definitely the case. From a moral standpoint, like, is there any actual reason why that should matter?
I mean, I don't know. It's up to the individual person. I don't like being in the position of deciding when to be offended for somebody. But like from,
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm more just saying from like a hypothetical level.
Yeah, I don't know. Just usually the blowback is social, and if it's like, okay, like that was really funny, maybe don't do that so much. Like you're walking a line, buddy. Ooh, you. Yeah, I don't know.
I think the question, to go back to your truth plus pain theory, is, did you expose a new and intriguing truth or something that's going to, add a valuable truth?
Yeah,
maybe through it.
Like, was it specifically intended to, I don't know, hurt somebody who might be watching it, as opposed to dancing near something that is, potentially sensitive.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think usually the best comedians are trying to make a larger point whenever they have some sort of bit, and
or at the very least not punching down. Yeah. So let me just that was a longer multiplayer than we usually do, and we still have more to do because we put out the poll for the favorite titles. Of the favorite titles. So Dennis, since you put out the poll, I will let you decide how you want to do this.
Yeah, so every year we have some fun closing things out, put up the random, stupid, funny titles that we do throughout the year, and let everyone vote on what their favorites of the bunch are. So this year is no different. I saw fit to update the image of Ben as a Toady Award.
T-O-T-Y. T-O-T-Y.
Where'd you get the picture from?
Just Facebook.
Okay.
I was there. Don't you remember? No. And yeah, so the votes are in. They have been counted and weighted. The way that it's done is for those who didn't get a chance to vote, rank your top 5 out of every title of this year. 1 counts for 5 points, 2 counts for 4, and on down. So the rankings are based on the weighted total of all those votes.
Yeah.
And should we work our way up the totem pole?
The toady pole.
The toady pole.
Yeah. So let's see here. This will be really tough to coordinate between us. So Dennis, if you and I want to go back and forth.
Yeah, let's simple.
Yeah. So tied for 9th place is, hey, shut up and eat your soup. I forget the context of that.
Say, I don't think I was on that one.
Yeah.
However,
I think this will be the running theme of the title.
Yeah.
I don't know why we said that.
Yeah.
Which is half the fun of them. Also in 9th place, tied for 9th, is Picross, Mitochondria, and Despair.
That was early on in the year. That was Jala saying the words that had lost all meaning to her, specifically because of games that I had talked about or streamed.
Is it bad that I read this as midichlorians?
I don't know.
I think I've just got Star Wars on the brain.
Those worst things.
In 8th place, we have How Are You Older Than Me? That's very good. I forget. I think that I said something. Yeah, I cannot recall.
It is by process of elimination. It has to involve you or Ben, right?
Maybe.
I was going to say, I think it might have been between us two, me commenting on the fact that we're effectively the same, have been in the same grades in the same school for literally our entire school career.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see here. Yeah. What's a number 7?
Yeah, chiming in at number 7 is improvised murder opportunities,
I like that.
which is fantastic.
Yeah.
IMOs.
Yeah.
Whenever somebody says IMO, that's what they mean.
Yeah.
At number 6, where are you getting this jelly? I think was a hypothetical thing that I had you, Dennis, screaming at your kids.
Yes.
Because of things getting all sticky whenever they touch them because they're kids.
I can never hear anything about jelly without thinking of the McElroy bit about pranking people by just putting a little bit of jelly on the inside of their car door handle.
A little bit of jelly on it.
Where are you getting this jelly? So that's where I go. Chiming in at number 5 is oops, I big dated myself.
Missing the oops. But that was you. That was you talking about was it you analyzing your Apex Legends performance?
I think that might have been it. Yep.
Yeah. Let's see here. At number 4, we have 7 different fetish minds. I like that.
Truly, this one captures the spirit of the podcast.
This was from my City of Heroes.
Oh shit! Yeah. Oh, the characters that you made up.
Trying to create the unfuckable character.
And accidentally walking backwards into just the sexiest thing imaginable.
My goodness. I went back to I should open up on my phone now. I went back to that Discord just out of curiosity.
Oh yeah?
At one point, and like 3 days after I had posted that I was kind of out, it just died. It shut down.
You were load bearing.
There was no like pomp and circumstance. It was just like it went quiet. And now I'm worried it was some kind of elaborate ruse set up just for me, and don't know what to think.
It's like the Truman Show.
Yes.
Got the GDs onto us.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Sorry about that noise in the background. I dropped something, and Greta is going crazy
Alarmed.
about it. Yeah. I'll keep that in. It's fun. People like hearing Greta. Let's see here. At tied for number 2, we have Repressed. Capital R-E, and they're pressed. I think referring to Jala playing some Resident Evil games and then just repressing them because they were not the best, I think, maybe.
And this is very much my personal favorite.
They can't all be 6.
Let's see here. Also tied for second is It's Hard to Update Your Hands. Which I remember being a David quote, I think.
I can't recall. I know vaguely the context. It was like, I can't get better at this, and like, I can't update my hands or something like that. I don't know. Coming in at number 1, this feels like violence, but we've got number 1, episode 300. This is a stupid show, you guys.
It kind of had to go to 300, right?
Maybe, yeah. But it's a little bit like in 2017 when the number 1 vote getter in a walk was "Stop Talking, I Want to Die." I feel like our listeners are expressing their votes when they vote.
Or have a very specific sense of humor.
Okay, yes.
I mean, they keep listening, so.
I do appreciate that we're championing the ranked choice voting.
Oh yeah, it's the only sensible thing to do. So do we want to hit like the top 5 of the A-Toadies as well?
Dennis? Yeah. So there are.
My title of the year was an A-Toady.
Okay.
There you go.
Little self-serving.
So it's up there on the list too. So I'll get started here. So we've got "I'm Not Going to Eat My Cat." I cannot recall what that was.
All I remember is that I instigated that, which probably is surprising.
Next up is "Guiji Turns on You." Or alternately, Guiji Turns On You.
I think that we posited that as an alternate Guiji Turns You On. I don't know.
Yes, indeed.
We have A Poor Time for an Oreo. Was that a kid one?
I don't remember that. I hear it in the Ebenezer Scrooge. It's a poor excuse to pick a man's pocket. It's a poor time for an Oreo.
So, interesting fact. Did you know that Oreos are actually the off-brand of Hydrox cookies?
I did know that. By several years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Number 2 here, David, this is the one that you liked, and it's the one that you put in a last-minute vote on this one. It is, David, I know you have thoughts.
True words never been spoken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, into we had a 3-way tie for second.
Yeah.
So also in second, I have not studied this in a while or ever.
That's also great.
I like that. Oh wow! I was scrolled down, so it'll be more like the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the top 7.
You were still technically correct in saying this was in the top 2. Or David, I know you have thoughts was in the top 2.
Gotcha. The other one would be a translation error for "she thirsty."
I'm trying to remember what this is in relation to.
I can't remember. I don't know.
It was a specific quote from a source where it was feasible that it was translated. Yeah. Anyway, yes, good stuff.
And then the number 1 vote getter for the Atoti is "I exercise everything, including violence." Which, if Jala didn't say it, it needs to be like embroidered on a sweatband for her.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like this wasn't even last week's, was it? When the fan commented about her tendency to get tired with an enemy and pull out rocket launchers.
This was level 292, so a little while back.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry, I keep all these in a searchable thing. So
yeah.
Yeah.
It is a very I love, by the way, that the theme of this show has been or the emerging trend in the show has been sending Jala stuff against her will. This has been hilarious to watch develop. And to date it's been mostly Danganronpa themed, although I think there's been other tchotchkes as well.
Yeah, I think several years ago at one point she said, "I never had a light bright growing up, so I sent her a light bright." And I don't know if it ever came out that I was the one who sent that to her.
Nice.
Yeah.
So whoever sent her the Monokuma, there you go. That's Mark. That's how long you have to wait before revealing.
So thank you for voting in this, and thank you for putting up with our self-indulgence in and going on about our own titles. We think they're fun. People tell us that they're fun. My favorite in the Atoties is Loading, or no, it's a real title actually. Loading Scream is my favorite of these, but it was way down.
That's got a ring to it.
Yeah.
Mine was repressed. Amazing.
Yes.
I like Wii U has UI backwards.
Oh, did you have one, David?
I mean, for the main titles, I'm not sure I necessarily do. There's actually a lot of Atoties I like. I like that. I like Gen Con.
Oh, Gen Con's solid.
And I do like, even though I feel like it's not a great title, but I just love the image. The rats have partnered with the forces of chaos.
Similar to like a main title, Bone Burns Bright, which isn't necessarily a good title for an episode, but I just like the poetry of it.
Yep.
Yeah. Fun times. Next segment. Oh, if you want to participate in the multiplayer, go to facebook.com/the level podcast and watch the prompts to go up on Monday afternoons. There we go. Next segment. The End Boss. Now it is time for the End Boss, where we talk about things that are going on in the world of video games around us, and things specifically things that are exciting us or agitating us. I'm going to cut us right to David's. Hey, David, tell me what's going on with this.
Yeah, so
you made me aware of this, so you are responsible for
it. So there's been a recent discussion. a recent discussion on the level slack of personas, so I figured it was only appropriate to bring up the story that Cats is getting a video game style patch.
Right.
Apparently, they rushed it out to production too quickly and screwed up some of the CGI.
Yep.
And so they're releasing a patch with the correct CGI because clearly that was the problem.
Yeah. Yep. Hey guys, you fixed the wrong thing.
Yeah, so I find myself in a weird spot on this in that, like, I really like the musical Cats.
Okay.
Which already, my understanding is puts me at odds with critics.
The majority of the human race, but that's fine. It was really popular. It was really popular and ran for a long time. Like, there are people who like it, and
Yeah.
Wasn't it popular in like the 80s though?
It ran for decades is the thing.
Okay.
Like, a lot of people,
it's still running, I think, isn't it?
Maybe. Something like that.
This is guaranteed that it will continue to run.
Yeah, I feel like from everything I've seen about this, I feel like their major flaw with this movie was not waiting to release it until after marijuana legalization nationwide.
I think we're going to need like DMT legalization at this point. Cats debuted, Ben just put this here in 1981. So it's been around for, a long time. Like, I can see
like a lot of things from the 80s, it was not a good idea.
But like I can see in the moment going there and being impressed by the costuming and the choreography because it's happening in real life in front of you and not being done in a computer.
I think that's the
That's
issue.
the problem. It wasn't being done in a computer.
And so I think the issue also is not only that, but like they made it a movie, not a musical, so it doesn't have the costuming or choreography.
I mean, like, most of the people in it are like ballet dancers and stuff like that. Like, apparently the choreography is pretty on point. It's just a fucking nightmare fever dream is my understanding of it from like talking to people who like Gary encouraged me to go see it, but not to go alone.
Like, use the buddy system. Yeah.
I'm weirdly like, the idea that, okay, a movie ships and there's something wrong with it. We have the ability, because all movies are just digital files that are downloaded, like to do this. Like, oh, fuck. We needed to fix this thing. The fact that this is so that shouldn't bother me. The fact that this was publicized as much as it is, like as an attempt to like save this botched release of a just historically bad movie, feels incredibly bleak to me for some reason.
So that's I kind of want to see, just because I read the Polygon review of it, and basically their take came down to it's a bad movie that was entirely committed to be making this bad movie. And I feel like usually those movies are at least worth going and seeing.
But it's like, I mean, it's definitely a sight to see. It's just, I think my favorite line that I saw
alone is not enough anymore.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I think the favorite line, I mean, just the bumper crop of just the bumper crop of just a parade of people dunking on this. My favorite line was like, this is proof that God is real and we're his pets and he left us in the car to die or something. So good.
Kind of along the same story, it got removed from the for your considerations to the Oscars a few days ago as well.
Yeah, it's probably for the best.
Yeah. It does kind of show though that like the point of movies right now are to make money. It's like the artistic integrity comes secondary to that.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, but then you like that is absolutely the case, but then you get something like Parasite coming out, And it's like, oh, there's tons of really good stuff. It's just the big
foreign film, by the way.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, see. Speaking of movies, possibly misguided projects, Dennis, what's the project you brought, or the story you brought?
movies and problems probably over money. The Uncharted movie, remember that thing that was announced over a decade ago?
Yeah, like 12 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, it has now lost another director, which is it's like fourth or fifth director that has bailed on the movie. As it's gone through many iterations and as many writers, and close to as many leads, so that's fun. But yeah, the thing that is even more alarming is as people are leaving, they're tending to leave in a very uncharitable way.
Right.
Just people on their way out don't tend to have nice things to say about the movie or the way it's being handled. So this comedy of errors continues. Don't trust anyone that there is going to be an Uncharted movie until you are sitting in the seat in the theater, watching it in front of you. Because man, do they seem determined to torpedo this?
And maybe wait for the 1.1 patch.
Right. But on paper, like, this should be the easiest thing, the easiest game to make into a movie. Like, they did it with Doom. It shouldn't be this hard, guys. Yeah.
So, and just like Doom, the ideal person for the role would be The Rock.
Would it?
Oh yeah. See, so my take on this would be the easiest movie to make a movie that is effectively the Uncharted movie, as long as it didn't have to have anything to do with Uncharted.
Okay.
Because basically Uncharted is like buddy movie plus Indiana Jones.
Yep.
Well, here's the funny thing is Nathan Drake is pretty overtly patterned or inspired by Nathan Fillion.
Yep.
And in this whole debacle of trying to get the movie written and made and get a director to actually stay longer than a couple weeks,
right?
Nathan Fillion was just like, I'll do it. I'll do one on my own. And he made a fan film that is really good. Like, you should watch it. That kind of, for me, this is as much as I wanted to watch Uncharted as a live action thing. It has the actor I wanted to see as a live action Nathan Drake. And I'm happy to let the official Uncharted movie wallow and die now because this Uncharted fan film exists.
Yeah. It's one of those things, like the games are already so cinematic, It makes about as much sense as making a Tomb Raider movie, and they've tried that so many times.
But they've actually done it. It's the thing. They can't even get this one out the door.
Yeah.
And they made several great Resident Evil movies, so.
We're just going to agree to disagree on that one, buddy.
No, I still, I think some of the issue is just like, it doesn't work to a significant degree. Uncharted works because it's kind of the generic distillation of, like a Indiana Jones type movie. So, but generic only really works when you're making like, a shout out to something. It doesn't work when you then actually make the original thing and make it generic.
Yeah. It never seemed to add up. Well, people are going to keep spending money that could go to much better things on it. Yeah, it's just going to keep on going.
Much worse things it could go to, though,
I suppose. Speaking of things in media, I have not watched the new Witcher Netflix series, although I understand it is quite good. People seem to be enjoying it, and I'm currently actually like listening to some Witcher books on audiobook. To get a basis in some of the short stories that I know, some of these episodes are based around. However, a combination of the Netflix series and just the fact that we're on a Steam sale as of the time of recording means that more people are playing The Witcher 3 now on Steam than they did in the year that it released.
Ha!
Wow.
So, yeah, this is according to Steam charts. Which says that let me see here. Some 92,000 players have logged in. The all-time high was 94,000, which was set in the last 24 hours. So that Netflix series got a lot of people thinking about Geralt and that Witcher and a song that Dandelion wrote that is becoming mimetic at this point, although he isn't called Dandelion in the series. They use his Polish name. Yeah,
so
Witcher's in the brain.
The one thing that I haven't seen the season yet. The one thing I am kind of excited about, though, is I haven't heard any stories about just how incredibly grimdark it is.
Yeah. I mean, like it's you know, there is a good amount of humor, you know, and like a lot of it is fairy tale influenced.
But I feel like if you have a series that like already has some significant like Shades of Grey themes, and if I was going to like do movie director logic and be like, oh yeah, the kids these days love their Game of Thrones, right?
Right.
Like I could see this just being like, let's make this the most, you know, unlikably grimdark thing we possibly can.
Yeah, I don't think that's the direction that they went.
Oh yeah, no, and that's what excites me.
No, what were you gonna say, Ben?
So I've seen the first like 6 episodes of it. I only have a few left, and they do justice to the tone of the video game, and they also like a good thing about it is it's like there's like a different monster in every episode, and it's like, oh, that's really cool looking. So like they do that aspect justice too, where it's like similar to like every side quest you go on, it's like, oh, there's this brand new thing that I had never seen before. Like, so that part's good. The show itself is just kind of like, I'm gonna say it again, it's just kind of fine. Like it's like, I don't know, it's just backstory stuff, I guess. So you can take it or leave it, I guess. I don't know, for me. Yeah.
I feel weird being excited to see Henry Cavill in anything. Surprisingly really good as Geralt. I did not expect him to pull it off as well as he's done. So yeah, I just thought that was kind of cool. That you know, this incredibly popular game got more incredibly popular because of a television show. Weird.
I'm just waiting for the episode where they spend the entire running time playing a card game.
I'm actually curious if Gwent factors in at all.
I have not seen Gwent yet, but
wait till episode 5, and then everyone will bitch about it.
Ben, you got a story?
I do not. I was just going to piggyback on your Witcher.
That's a-okay. Cool. Well, how do you guys feel about buttoning it up?
Let's button.
Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to level number 310. This has been longer than usual, so I will keep the admin brief. Thank you so much for making 2019 extremely good for the shows and the network. Like, we've had a lot of fun here, entertaining you and having you entertain us. General state of the world, up in the air. Not feeling too great, but here within the confines of this podcast, big thumbs up. And that is, thanks to the listeners, all of you. And thanks to, everybody who comes on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Anjala, thank you as well. Yeah. Since she is not present, but I would like to extend thanks to everybody involved in making the show. If you would like to help us out, the stuff you can do, Patreon, Facebook, telling your friends. But most of all, come back next week. We are going to continue into the new year strong. I've been Kole Ross. You can watch my streams on Twitch at Duckfeed.tv.
I've been Dennis Furia. You can find me on Twitter at Deck of Wonders with underscores between the words.
I've been David Moneysmith. Probably through the end of the year. We'll see about next year.
I've been Ben Merkel at Merkelby on Twitch.
And stick around for some titles. Let's see. I've got some. So I'll open up with this here. Everybody's allowed theirs.
I had it as everyone gets theirs, but either way.
Everyone gets theirs feels like weirdly more saucy. Yeah. I have waifu priorities. I have Get the Onions, which I like quite a bit. I also like Tiny Car in Italian.
Yes.
And Virgin White Claw.
Mm-hmm. This is a good one for title. I got a bunch as well.
Okay, what you got, Dennis?
Number.
I have Money is Everyone's Love Language. ESP Sickness. I have from David's segment PC parentheses all in parentheses. I had Everybody's Allowed Theirs, although I had it styled as 2020. Everybody's allowed theirs.
Okay.
Carino means tiny car in Italian.
I'm going to put that as a vote for Tiny Car in Italian.
Tiny car. Yep. I have the Phantom Pho. And then Virgin White Claw.
Okay.
So, I also had Virgin White Claw.
Okay.
And then I also had They Can't All Be Six.
What?
There's a reference to
about the Resident Evils, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had a number of them.
I was going to say, now I can see that can be taken out of context in a very poor way.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
What you got, David?
So I have everyone gets theirs, like I said.
Okay.
Guess what, guys? It's time for Picross. We're going to reopen the Griddler case. I had "It's fine!" exclamation point. Is that something that someone on drugs did? Yeah, I'm ambivalent towards that one. I have the secret ingredient is shake. Walking backwards into the sexiest thing imaginable. Gary encouraged me not to go alone. And piggyback on your Witcher. Also, I would throw out a vote for waifu priorities because that entertains me. But
I mean, so if I don't know that I'm super crazy about Everybody's Allowed Theirs, I'm way into Tiny Car in Italian.
That one's pretty.
It got more than one vote.
So I think
as well, if you have it without Carino, it's one that people can read the title and then there'll be a light bulb moment when the joke comes up.
Right. Also, I had written Johnny Carino as like there was some title related to that I meant to write down that didn't get time, and I think it was probably that.
Okay. So it's
little car in Italian or whatever.
Tiny Car in Italian.
Yes.
So it's technically tied for first. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I don't have to feel bad for thumbing the scale on that. Is everybody okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Although I am a big fan of we're going to reopen the Griddler case.
That's pretty solid. And the Gary told me not to go alone.
Yeah, just lots of good ones. Lots of good titles. Yep. Beginning the year strong. Cool. Well, you guys have a wonderful New Year. Please be safe and have fun.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Peace, y'all.
Take care.
Right.
Bye.
Have a good weekend.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.